Hey there, welcome to Professor Purl, a YouTube channel about knitting. I'm Nicole and this is episode 64. I'm back and I'm so excited to be sharing a knitting update on my YouTube channel. I like to do these every 2 or 3 weeks, but it's been a month and a half. And that's because the entire month of May I was traveling. I went abroad. I went to Iceland, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and France. It was so fun. I don't think I'm going to share much about it on this episode. Let me know if you'd be interested in a separate video about that. But I've been home for 2 weeks and I've been enjoying my time at home with my family, my husband Kyle, my daughter Matilda, and I'm Summer Nicole. The name Professor Purl, the YouTube channel gets its name because I'm a professor that loves to knit, and it's summer break right now and I'm really enjoying my time at home. I've been organizing. Actually, part of my update today will be talking about organizing my hand knits. My room, my drawers, my hand knits really just got out of control, and so I've been spending days organizing and I'm super grateful for that. And I discovered things I knit that I forgot I had, like the sweater I'm wearing today. And so yeah, I will share my update about organizing and also what I finished knitting and what I'm working on now. So let's hop to it. So what I'm wearing is the Trelawny top that is designed by Tamy Gore. I test knit this a couple years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. And when I was selected for the test knit, it was around the time of the Rosy yarn crawl. And I live south of Portland, Oregon in wine country. So I try to go to the Rosy yarn crawl every year. And when I was selected for the test knit, it was Rosy yarn crawl. So I went to what I consider to be my local yarn store, which is Naughty Lamb. And I picked out the yarn for the test knit. And so I don't remember the colorway names, but I have a Ravelry page and all that's linked below. But this main color is from Life in the Long Grass, and it was a singles base. And I love knitting singles and using singles yarn, the sort of the unplied yarn in short sleeve sweaters because it creates such a nice drape. So this was Life in the Long Grass. And then this color that looks like cream is actually a pale pink from Suburban Stitcher. And I remember this base having a high silk content because it was super hard for me to knit this color work, but I love how it turned out. It's got a really nice fit. It's a great color on me. And I forgot I had it. And then I've been organizing my hand knits. I'll share about that later, do a little walkthrough of what I did for organizing. And I discovered a lot of hand knits I forgot I made. So this was one of them. I didn't wear this once this spring. This would have been a really nice spring top, but it is so beautiful here in the Pacific Northwest. If you ever get a chance to visit in the summer, you should. Like, it is 74 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's not humid, so it's warm and sunny. It's not too warm, it's not humid. Our summers are magical. They're perfect for short sleeve sweaters and knit tank tops, truly. Okay, so that's what I'm wearing. Today's a stay-at-home day. I'm Summer Nicole, and yeah, my daughter Matilda and I have played Go Shark. She's like, it's like Go Fish, but Go Shark. And she's scooted on her scooter, and we're just having a good time. And I was like, Matilda, I need an hour to come out on the porch and record. And so she's playing, and I'm gonna update about my finished object I have. I have one finished object. After a month and a half, I imagined having all the knits, a sweater almost done. That's what I envisioned with the traveling. But with the traveling, sometimes you're tired. And so I would get back into my hostel or hotel room and just crash and just sleep. And there wasn't much knitting or reading. And during the day, I was out having adventures. I hiked a couple glaciers. I did amazing things. I'm gonna save that for a different video, but like, I wasn't knitting. Occasionally I knit, like on a bus. One time in a super Jeep a little bit, but it was like small stitches. So yeah, there's only one finished object. which is my second Ljusblomma shawl. So here it is. Okay. This is a design by me and it's out now. And there's a 40% off code, Ljusblomma. I think that's the code. It'll be on the screen and it'll be below on Ravelry if you're interested. So Ljusblomma, it's a Swedish word. Ljusblomma is a nod to this idea of how light this sweater is, and also these like floral little stitches here. Okay, so my original Ljusblomma was this one. I've showed it on so many podcasts. And I actually packed this for Iceland, and I wore this a ton in Iceland. It was the perfect travel scarf because it's so lightweight. Like, I should show you how this packs up. It's truly lightweight, like feeling. Yeah, some shawls, ones particularly superwash, fingering ones can feel kind of heavy. And I traveled all those countries with a carry-on, a little carry-on suitcase. So I needed to pack light. So this was just very light, smashed down pretty good. And then it was very warm, really great for my Iceland hikes and things. This was so great. But when I knit this as a design, I knit it out of Yarnaceous fibers. The main base here is the Cosmo lace fingering. It is a lace weight, it's what it's sold on her website as, but you can knit it at a fingering gauge, which is what I did here. And then the flowers I did in the fingering weight. And this color, like the sock yarn. And so I was noticing on camera, you can't really tell that these are two different yarn bases. This is her colorway Illusions. And so I knew I wanted to knit a second one. The big dream was to finish this and wear this one abroad, but that's not what happened. So I was like, oh, I'll finish it in Iceland, and then maybe the name Ljusblomma, it comes from Swedish inspiration. So I was thinking, oh, I'll take a finished object photo of this in Sweden. That also didn't happen. But I did wear this while hiking a glacier. And I did knit this while hiking glaciers. And I did knit this in Sweden, so I have those memories. Anyway, I love this. This is the base, the Cosmo base is really similar to base as the Moondrake's Fua Fua and La Amiee. It has a base like this. Let me know if you've seen other bases like this where it's cashmere and merino. It's almost like a substitute for mohair, but I think it's good for people that are allergic to mohair or suri or don't like the feel of it, because this is much softer. Anyway, this took a skein and a half of this main color here, which was deadless, and then the flowers were actually, I used Amiee from Fangirl Fibers. They sometimes share a booth at yarn festivals, which is how I found this yarn. I was at Flock last year and I saw this color, and then this was also in the same booth, and it was Pink Pony Club from Amiee Fangirl Fibers, and I was like, okay, this has to be a shawl. I think I will wear this a ton. I've already wore it since being back. So that's out now. So that's my main finished object. And by main finished object, I mean the only finished object I have. I have two works in progress. So this very cute bag with the mice, I love it. This is from Molly Klein Designs, and I just love these little mice so much. And I packed this in my carry-on, so this took a lot of space, and I carried this all the places I went: Iceland, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, France. I never cast this on. I never gauge swatched. I was just knitting my Ljusblomma. I literally thought, to this I'll finish probably Iceland. I'll need this for the rest of the month. No, knit this the whole time, never cast this on. And let me tell you, that was actually a good thing. So in here were all the supplies to make the mini mock neck tank by Jessie Maed. And I'm going to be knitting that for Flock Fiber Festival with my friend Melissa, who is Stitches Be Slippin', both on Instagram and YouTube. She has a podcast as well. So we went to Flock together last year. We shared a room. We made matching tank tops. Actually, kind of two, because we wore the outline tank one night together. Hers was modified with buttons, very cute. And the next day, we wore the Moon Crush. And I loved wearing a matching tank top with hers. So we decided we're going to do that again, knitting the mini mock neck tank. So I'm really excited about it. Yet I didn't cast it on. But when I got back, Melissa was saying that she was having some gauge issues, and then it made me nervous. And I also reached out to Elizabeth, who's Elizabeth is Knitting. She has like a little mini podcast on Instagram, very cute. So I reached out to her. I bumped into her at the Roasting Yarn Crawl. We both bought this yarn, and I'm going to show you. And I was asking her about it, and she knit hers in a different gauge as well. So I got in my head about gauge. I'm sharing that to say I knit so many gauge swatches. Like, am I going to even have yarn left for my tank top? Okay. So for the mini mock neck tank, it requires a US size 4. And that seemed like a yarn, like a size needle that I use for fingering garments. So I did cast it on, and it does look good. I think it looks good though if I'm wearing a knitted piece like this, where I have a lot of positive ease because the fabric's not stretched. But the mini mock neck tank is going to have negative ease, which means it's going to be smaller than my body and be stretched, the fabric. So when I stretch this fabric, I don't know, it doesn't look that bad on the screen, but when I stretched the fabric in person, I was like, I don't think that's for me. So then I did a US, so I blocked everything. So then I gauge swatched a US size 3 needle. And again, I think the fabric looks fine, but when it's stretched, oh, see, you can see my body underneath it. I don't want to see my body. I want to just wear the tank top. Look, if you like a little meshy look like this, that's great. That's good for you. Okay, like, no judgment. I'm not saying people can't wear meshy tops. I'm just saying I don't want to. So then I gauge swatched a US size 2. And I think this is it. I think I'm going to knit the tank top in a US size 2. So I'm actually really glad I didn't cast this on my trip, because I don't know if I would have gauge swatched as intentionally, because here I did like really intentional gauge swatching and blocking, and I haven't cast it on yet because I'm like lazy because I'm like, I have to do the math. I love math, but I've been putting my needles on the back side here. So this is how I packed it for the trip. I had a plastic sleeve, all the needles I might need, try-on cords, my needle size gauge thing. I was ready to go. So now it's all crinkly, the pattern, because I was traveling all over and never knitting it. Okay, let me show you the yarn. Of course, because I was traveling, I don't have the yarn band ball, but it is a Sewrella yarn. I have seen Sewrella yarn at yarn festivals, and I've never purchased it. And I think it's because sometimes if something's like super hyped up, it like makes me like nervous. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I always like want to buy yarn from the yarn booths that maybe like don't have 1,000 people with a line there. So yeah, I've never purchased Sewrella yarn. But at the Rosie Yarn Crawl, there was a little pop-up, little table, and there wasn't a lot of people around the table, and there wasn't like a line out the door for the yarn. And so I actually went and looked at the yarn in like a peaceful state and fell in love with this color. And so did Elizabeth from Elizabeth is Knitting. And so we both purchased 2 skeins. We should have bought 2 more for Melissa, really. So yeah, I'm gonna knit the tank top. That's my goal for this afternoon tonight, is to just like enjoy the math, sit down, math it, figure out the size. What I mean by that is there's the gauge that Jessie Maed has designed this tank top for. And then there's the gauge that I'm going to knit. And I think I'm going to knit this at a denser gauge than she suggests. I'm fairly certain, because she's suggesting 24 stitches per 4 inches, which is what I would do on a sweater for positive ease, not a sweater for negative ease. So that's on the agenda. The other reason why I haven't cast it on yet is I've been very distracted by a very fun project. So we were in Paris, France for like 3.5, 4 days. Kyle, my husband, and my daughter Matilda. The day we arrived was the last day of the La Bien-Aimée pop-up store. This was not intentional. It was like, so La Bien-Aimée started as a store in Paris, France, and of course it's a huge yarn company brand. I'm sure you know of it. And now like she just primarily dyes, and like there's all these wonderful collaborations, things, books like Neons and Neutrals that go with her yarn and things. And so everybody knows this yarn, and you can get it in the United States actually at a lot of places. It's always available somewhere at the Roasting Yarn Crawl, for instance. But I knew that sometimes like there's pop-ups in Paris, and so I thought, oh, I will just search to see if she's doing a pop-up. I think it was just this annual thing, or maybe, I don't know if it's every year or if it was just this year, but I had somehow heard about this pop-up, so I Googled it, went to her website, and sure enough, there was a pop-up end of May, and the last day of the pop-up store was the first day that I was arriving to Paris, so I wanted to go to the pop-up store, and I did. And I'm actually really surprised it happened, because I had to like take a train from Frankfurt, a long-term train from Frankfurt to Paris. Then I had to figure out how to buy a transit card, and then figure out how to take the metro. And there was like a lot of things that I needed to do to get there, check into my hotel. And so I didn't know if it would all work out, but it did. And we had, my whole family went, my husband, my daughter, me, and we had a really fun day that day. We didn't just do the pop-up store. We did other things in that area, and it was really fun. So when I went to the pop-up store, I was honestly very overwhelmed, and I'll share about this in a different video, but it was like, I was just like so overstimulated by like all the bright, beautiful yarn. And so I really didn't buy much. If you know me and you are a longtime viewer, you know I love a sweater's quantity of yarn. It's like my go-to to buy. And if I had imagined like what I would purchase at La Bien-Aimée, it would have been a sweater's quantity of yarn. Well, that's not what happened. What happened is I bought sock yarn. And I bought a little bag. So she's really known for yellow. She wears these like checked dresses, like if you follow her on Instagram. I got to meet her there. It was so fun. I bought this because I thought this is so cute and I can just hold my sock yarn in it. And I bought myself and my friend Andrea. So my friend Andrea like is a really good friend and like helps me out a lot, honestly. Like when I was traveling, she came over to my house and watered my plants, and if I need her, she's like the kind of friend that if you need her, like she's there. Like I had a doctor's appointment this past week and she came to watch Matilda and made French style jam with her. I went to my doctor's appointment. So like I knew I wanted to buy her something there too. So I bought her the same sock yarn. So look at that. And so upon returning, I wanted to give her sock yarn. And so we went and we had lunch together at a Mediterranean place here in my town, and called Lemon and Olive, and we cast these on. So this yarn is a collaboration between La Bien-Aimée and Modime. So it's like a woolly wool yarn. So this is like a Portuguese wool. So it's like Modime's base that Amiee dyes on. And while this looks like bright yellow, it's not just bright yellow. There's some complexity to it. It's like this kind of like fluorescent yellow and like a more golden yellow like this. Okay, so Andrea and I met and we decided to cast on socks. I'm knitting mine cuff down. She's knitting hers toe up. Hopefully she'll visit and be on the podcast again and share more about that. But we came up with a texture pattern together, which I think is so fun. It's checks, which how we came up with it is a nod to Amiee. She always wears like check dresses, so it's in her iconic yellow. We're both knitting it in our own special way and doing these checks. So fun. So I'm doing a heel flap and gusset, and Andrea's doing a toe up legal heel. Okay. I don't know what it is about this woolly wool Modine yarn and this sock, but it's all I've wanted to do. And so every time I'm like, I'm gonna cast on my tank top, I just have been knitting this instead. And I knit them tall because I like to go hiking, and I just want this to go into to be a nice hiking sock. I do wear my socks for things other than hikes. I wear them just as regular socks, but I just like a taller sock more than a shorter sock. It offers me more wearability. So I'm to the part now. I've done the heel flap and I've done the heel turn. So now I just need to pick up the stitches on the side to do the gusset, and I like to knit mine on these little needles. Okay, so this is pretty much all I bought. I bought a couple other things, little, but hopefully I'll share that in a separate video about my travels. But I'm very into these kind of bright colors. As you can see, I've got the bright yellow, the bright red. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been working on for the past 2 weeks. And I'm now going to update you about what I've been up to with organizing. I love to make sweaters. I feel like I love to knit everything. Shawls, sweaters, socks. I say sweaters, but lately on the channel you've seen like a lot of shawl knitting with my shawl design and things. But I feel like there's just seasons. Like sometimes you knit more socks, sometimes you knit more shawls, sometimes you knit more sweaters, things like that. But I just really enjoy knitting. Of course I love the products, I love wearing my hand knits, but I also love the process. And so what's happened is I want to live this minimalist lifestyle where I don't have a lot of things, but what I have is high quality things and they're intentional. And then I had the reality of my drawers in my closet, and I'm still working on them, where I have a mix of commercial clothing, handmade clothing, and I have a lot of hand knits and almost like fast fashion. Like I have a lot of hand knits. And so, but I couldn't find where everything was at. And I started to realize upon getting home that like some of my shawls were in this drawer, some of them were in this drawer, some of them were in this drawer, some of them were in this chest, some of them were in my closet in a Rubbermaid container. Like they were just super disorganized. Same thing with my hand knit socks. Is I have a sock drawer. My husband and I share the sock drawer, and it was overflowing, like hard to shut. And I had my commercial socks with my hand knit socks, and it could barely fit in. And then it just the sweaters too. Is I had a little chest at the end of my bed. I still have it, and I would put my sweaters in there, my hand knit sweaters in there, and it was like bursting at the seams, like they didn't all fit in there. They needed a different location, so I got a Rubbermaid container, and it started off organized in my closet, but then it became disorganized. The problem with a Rubbermaid container is that I don't see my sweaters and forgot what I had. So like I knit this Barbie crop top, I forgot about it, and I never wore it once. I didn't wear it once this past season, and it's so cute. And I saw it on Charm City Unicorns podcast, and I was like, hey, I knit that. I test knit that. I didn't wear that for a year. What? I love it. And so I just got home from my trip and just like wanted to organize. And so I have been organizing, and it feels so good. So I made the decision to get rid of all of my commercial sweaters. So sweaters that I bought from a store like Express, or people gave them as a gift to me, but sweaters that I didn't make. And I think that this is part of like my transition to minimalism, or transition to a like handmade, thoughtful, not fast fashion wardrobe. Of course, I do still have some fast fashion pieces. I'm wearing the shorts that I didn't make right here, and I don't sew as much as I would like to. But I think part of my journey for me in trying to be more intentional with my wardrobe is to just like let go of the commercial pieces. And so I had a drawer, the bottom drawer of my dresser, that was all commercial sweaters. And I went through them, each one, like, and I asked myself, like, you know, is this bringing you joy? Like, I know it sounds so cliche, but like, is it bringing you joy? Would you wear this? And I realized that many of these sweaters I hadn't worn in like 3 or 4 years. I was just holding on to them because I gravitate towards the sweaters that I have made myself. So I just got rid of them all. I didn't throw them in the trash. I was tempted to in some cases, but I didn't. I intentionally went through and I posted them on a Buy Nothing group. So in my town, we have like these Buy Nothing Facebook groups where people say like, hey, I have this, would you like it? And then people comment and then you pick somebody. I have either my daughter Matilda help me pick, or I use a random number generator and pick somebody. So I gave away all my commercial sweaters, all of them. There's no going back now. I only have hand knit sweaters now. And then I took my sweaters that were overflowing out of the little chest at the end of my bed and I put them sweetly in the bottom row. And that felt really good. But that was only step one. I still had sweaters in that little chest at the end of my bed, and I also had some in a Rubbermaid container still. So I just went through drawer by drawer, and I'm still in this journey. It's not done, but I will say I did get 2 drawers completely empty in the bottom, and I put all my hand knit sweaters in there. Okay, disclaimer, not all my hand knit sweaters. So the good bad news is the good news is they all fit. The bad news was I needed to get rid of some things, but I think that's okay. There was some hand knit sweaters that I haven't worn in 10 years or so. 10 years. And I'm like, I need to let this go. Like, this is if I haven't worn this hand knit sweater in 10 years, I need to go. I made a hand knit sweater, I think in like 2013. I just didn't like the way the collar laid, and I think I wore it once or twice after making it. It was early in my sweater garment making career, I guess, and I just haven't worn it, and so I've set those aside. I haven't got rid of them. I'm going to try and give them away to people that maybe appreciate knitting or love knitting. I have a friend who's my neighbor. She is smaller than me, and I've made a couple of vests that are just, I don't fit in anymore. And I put those aside, and she said she'd like to try them on and see if they fit her. And she's a knitter too, so I would love to share those with her if she's interested. No pressure if she doesn't, and no pressure for people to keep these things or wear them. I just would like to give them to somebody I know if I can. So I'm getting rid of some hand knits too. So the good news is my sweaters are now organized. The bad news is they completely fill these 2 drawers. So what am I going to do with any new sweaters I knit? So there's still some more organization that needs to happen. Then I also had all these t-shirts, tons and tons and tons of t-shirts that I also don't wear. They were like, not like loose fitting t-shirts with positive ease that I like. They were like kind of like tight fitting t-shirts. I used to wear like tight fitting t-shirts, I feel like in like 2010 to 2015, like that time frame. And so I had some from there. Also some that have been given to me as gifts. I just don't wear tight fitting t-shirts, and these were taking up the whole drawer. And so I also posted those in my Buy Nothing group. And in that place, I put all of my shawls. There were a couple of shawls that I knit that I just wasn't wearing. For instance, there was one from the Rosa Yarn Crawl that I knit that's hot pink and navy blue. Very cute, but I think I've mentioned this before, I don't really like mosaic knitting, and it had mosaic hearts. So my friend Andrea said she did like it, so I gave it to her. And so all of my shawls are now organized. And I had put my socks in there at first, but then I thought, oh my goodness, like this is really packed full. There's not a lot like if I knit more shawls or more socks, like there's not grace to put them in an organized way now. So I continued organizing, and I found another drawer, and in that drawer is all the hand knit socks, and there's space for more socks. And then the other drawer is all the shawls, and there's space for a couple more shawls. I don't know what's gonna happen when I reach capacity on this, but it feels so good to be like, okay, I know where my shawls are now, I know where my sweaters are now, I know where my hand knit socks are. And so then the little chest at the end of my bed now holds hats, little tiny scarves, like my own pattern, the little garter scarf, Sophie scarf, I have that in there. So I know where stuff's at. And that was so fascinating too. I didn't realize how scattered I was with my hats. Like some of the hats were in my front hall closet, some of the hats were in a bottom drawer, some of the hats were in this chest. They were just like all over, and like now they're all in like one location. So if I need to get hats or mitts, I know where to get them. And I'm just so pleased. This is like spring cleaning, but it's summer. But end of the spring is my semester winding down since I'm a professor, so that's like very busy time. And then the month of May, where I might have had time to do some spring cleaning, I was traveling, and so it's like summer cleaning is the new spring cleaning for me. So that is my knitting update here about organizing, and I can see my knits and everything that I have in my drawers I'm like really excited about, and will hopefully wear it now that I can see. And so yeah, if you have a large sock collection or a large shawl collection or a large sweater collection or all of it like me, I would love to know how you organize it. I'm doing my best here, but I'm open to pivot and organize in a different way. I'd love to hear what works for you. Ultimately, what is best for any person is what is best for them. And since I was completely disorganized, this is like a step forward in a really good direction for me, I feel like. To the personal section of the episode now. So from this point forward, there's no knitting content, just personal. And in personal, I share about like my reading and what I've been up to. So yeah, if you're not here for the personal update, thanks for being here. And don't forget to like and subscribe. So for my personal update, I'll start with my reading, which is I haven't really been reading, which is so tragic because reading is amazing. But it is our summer reading program here where I live. Let me know if you participate in your library's summer reading program. And my daughter's really into it. And so when she's reading, I'm reading now. And now we're back from traveling and I'm like finding my groove again. So I read a book and it feels so good to have read a book for the summer reading program. It's a short book. It's called Sandwich. And it is about a woman kind of midlife, and she's married, she's got children, and when you're reading this book, they're on vacation together and they're sharing like her memories of them when they're children and kind of these transitions that happen when your children are becoming adults and they're still your children. And yeah, it was a very short, sweet book. And on one hand, very light reading, on the other hand, kind of about some deeper issues too. And so I like those kind of balances. I'm still not done with Onyx Storm, which is so crazy. But I mean, what's the rush? The fourth book is not out. So right as I was getting ready to leave on my trip, I was getting really into it. And then I had like 100 pages left and I go on this trip. So then I like lost the groove. But I came back, I'm back at it. I'm reading Onyx Storm again. And I'm gonna finish it this summer and this fourth book's still out, so it's fine. And I've actually been staying away from spoilers online, which is really great. Okay, so I don't wanna like do a big update about the trip because it's just massive because I was gone for a month, but I also don't wanna like not talk about it either. So maybe I'll just talk about one cool thing from every country, and then maybe that'll be a nice teaser to let you know if you want to see any video footage or hear about the trips. I probably definitely need to make a video for Iceland, because there was some really cool knitting content there. And okay, so Iceland was the first country I went to, and I went there bringing students with me from my university, and our class was about Scandinavian principles like Nuta, which is like this idea of enjoyment, and Lagom, which is the idea of just enough. Maybe you see the inspiration now for me wanting to organize my things at home here. But so we go to Iceland, and where do I start? Because it was so amazing, but I'm just going to pick one thing to share about, which is one thing I learned in Iceland is like I am capable of doing a lot more than I realized. Like I was terrified to snorkel between the tectonic plates. I didn't think I was going to be terrified, but then I became terrified once I arrived. It was very, very cold outside. It was snowing on us, like hailing a little bit on us. I was shivering. You're changing into your dry suit in the back of a truck. I was just so cold, and the idea of getting into 5 degrees Celsius water was kind of terrifying. So you put this dry suit on outside, it's raining on you, you're freezing, and then they tell you to put this thing on your face and on your hands, and they say it's not waterproof, but, you know, that's going to get wet, and they suggested maybe when you're snorkeling, like putting your hands out of the water like this to keep them warmer. So I was getting in my head, and then they had like this plastic zip tie that they would put around your hands to make sure that the water didn't get in there. They put it around your neck too. I was like, I can't breathe. Then the rational part of me was like, you are breathing because you're standing here. So I was about ready to dip out and just not do this. And they're talking about how long it is, and like you can't back out once you're at this point. And I just was in my head. I was just totally not going to do it. But I made a deal with myself. I was like, you can dip out if you at least like get in the water and feel like it's too cold to go forward. So once I got on this platform and put my face in the water to snorkel, I realized like it was just majestic, and I had this like complete peace wash over me and joy about snorkeling. And yeah, it was so cool to snorkel and in this crack in the earth, essentially. It was just the clearest water. It was so amazing. I didn't want to get out, and actually my body didn't want to get out either. I had like reverse seasickness. Totally great in the water. Once I got out of the water, then I was seasick. So yeah, Iceland was about like kind of like conquering some fears I had, like, and realizing that I'm way more capable than I give myself credit for. So that was really cool. All right, so next up we went to Stockholm. I taught my students about this idea of fika, which is like coffee and sweets with friends and talking in Sweden. And I did a lot of fikas in Sweden. So much fika, so many treats, so much coffee. And I just need to do that more here in the States. I would love to meet up with friends for coffee more than I do. And so yeah, that's like my lesson from Sweden is like I hope to bring that to my life more and to make time for people in person. I think one of the reasons why I like social media and I like YouTube is I can do it from home in my own introverted way. Like I'm putting myself out here, but I'm also like an introvert, and so this idea like to spend time with people is important for me. And yeah, it was a great takeaway from Sweden. When I went to Denmark, I loved Copenhagen. We were only there for 3 days, but I loved it. And it's interesting, like what my lesson learned is going to come in kind of an unexpected place, but Denmark in general and Copenhagen is known for their sustainability and their practices towards being like carbon zero, like net zero for sustainability. And I saw that tangibly at an amusement park. So I love Disneyland, I love Disney World, and so Tivoli is an amusement park in Copenhagen that is the inspiration for Walt Disney's Disneyland. So it was really epic to be there. My sidebar is it wasn't quite an inspiration, it was like almost a copy paste. Like the castle in the background, like there's like a real castle in Copenhagen in the background of the Tivoli. There's a ride, Big Thunder Mountain in Disney, and like it's called the roller coaster at Tivoli. So it was really neat to be there. But there's like simple things that happened where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good for sustainability. So like I loved the chais there. They had like a spicy chai latte. Well, let me rephrase this. I didn't order a spicy chai latte. I would just order a chai and it would be spicy. It was just really spicy. And so I started to like kind of crave them. And so I went to Tivoli and I got a chai latte, and the lid on there was this paper lid. And then I'm like, and it worked well. It didn't have to be plastic. And then if you returned the cup like into this machine, you got a little, I want to say like a little 2 or 5 or the crown back. They don't use the euros, they use the crown. So I was just like, wow, this is so great that they had these throughout the park. And so I just really appreciated the efforts towards sustainability, and something I hope to take with me. That's why I've been really investing so much time in like giving away some of my clothes rather than just throwing them away or bringing them to Goodwill. And there's my daughter Matilda. And so after Denmark, I met my family in Germany, and I think one of the things, at that point in time, I had been away from them for 18 or 19 days, and I really missed them. And so in Germany, it's so simple. I think what I learned in Germany was like to appreciate family dinners and hugs. Of course, I feel like I always did, but maybe not to that level. I think being apart for 18 or 19 days was so hard. And so, yeah, so my students flew back to Portland, and then I met up with my family in Germany, and I cried when I saw Matilda. I was just so happy to see her. We had a really great time in Germany, like just a majestic time, but my favorite part was just being with my family. Then after Germany, we went to France, and I would say this. The lesson I learned in France was about the importance of leaning into your own experiences. So I had never seen the Eiffel Tower or the Louvre yet. And one of the reasons why is I've had a lot of people in my life like kind of talk about how overhyped the Eiffel Tower is, or how overhyped seeing the Mona Lisa is. And I would like listen to that and then plan other things to do when I was in Europe. Because you can take a train right somewhere. And so then I would be like, I'll save that for later. Like I would like listen to these experiences of these, like it being like, oh, it's just another city, or it's just, countless people. So our family goes to the Eiffel Tower, and we had the time of our life. Like we had such a good time, and it was so cool, and Matilda's reaction to it was amazing. We weren't able to get tickets to the very top because we didn't do it in time, but we did buy tickets in advance, and we were able to go on the second floor, and so we had a really beautiful view there. And now we have a reason to go back, so we can go all the way to the tip top. But yeah, I just had such a good time in Paris, and I was like, why did I put off going to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre? A huge crowd to see the Mona Lisa, like almost like made me a little bit nervous because it was like so many people, like body to body, you know, we're squeezing through to go see it. But it was totally worth it, and a wonderful and the crowd sort of like enhanced the memory, I think, in a way. We had to wait for a long time to see it. Hopefully I'll put in a picture of the crowd. So it's a really epic trip. Since getting back, Matilda's had some swim meets. We've been organizing at home, and yeah, just enjoying family time, lots of games together. Oh, we did the best thing ever. I feel like we went to see a drive-in movie. Our town is a drive-in movie theater, and I have a truck, and so we put all these blankets in the back and squishmallows. Sometimes I feel like Matilda's too many squishmallows, but they finally had a purpose. I feel like we're in the back of the truck, the squishmallows, snacks, and it was very hot that weekend, and so at night it was like cool down, but we were fine outside with our blankets, and we saw the movie Lilo and Stitch, and yeah, very late night for Matilda, but it's summer, so it didn't really matter. And so yeah, we had such a good time, and I hope to do it again, and it felt really awesome to be making summer memories. All right, so I would love to know what you're up to this summer and what you're making. Are you making a tank top, or are you like not into knitted tank tops? Are you making a knitted shirt? Let me know. I'd love to know what your summer makes are. And I hope to be back here with a few other videos. Like, I would love to do a video about my Iceland trip at least, and like some of the yarn tangent things there. And I would also like to do a video about summer tops and like ones I have and like how I style them and things like that. Let me know if you'd be interested in those things, and thanks for watching. Bye.